Hey guys, welcome to Wendell Fishing. Daren here. Today I got with me the Fluke. I'm going to show you how to rig it. I'm going to show you where to fish it. I'm going to show you how to fish it. But first, let's start off with the rigging. So in order to rig this bad boy, you're going to need a either 3/0 or 4/0 hook. One of these right here. You're going to want an EWG extra wide gap hook with an offset bend right here that's going to hold the tip of your fluke, which I'll show you in just a second. Now, I recommend this hook if your fluke has a slit in it. If it does not have a slit in it, you can do similar hook, but not extra wide gap. This is straight shank hook. But for today, we're going to show you the most basic rigging of how to hook this thing up. The most common way is actually the Texas rig weightless. So how you want to rig this is take your hook, put it right through the front of the fluke, run it about 1/4 inch down and out the side. You guys see how that looks right now? Now, if you want the hook to come out on the slit side, what you do, you're gonna have to run the hook on the opposite side. This is true whenever you hook a lot of different creature baits. So if you want the hook out this side, at the end result, you can start over here. So you're gonna run that through, get it stuck on that offset bend of the hook. And now what you're gonna do is line up where you think the hook's gonna come, or it needs to come out in order for this to be nice and flush. So right there, and basically hook it up in there. You're good to go. That's how you rig the fluke. As you can see in the slit there, it's just nicely hidden, and whenever a bass comes and smashes this and you set the hook, this is gonna bend down, and that is gonna reveal the hook, and you're gonna be able to tag that fish with that and catch it. So that's how you rig the fluke. Now, the fluke is considered a soft jerk bait, and I tell you what, when these things are hitting, I mean, the bass smash, smash, smash. And you might be thinking to yourself, why in the world have I never used the fluke before? And why in the world don't I own any more? Because you can go through these pretty quickly. A lot of times, if these are going to break, especially after a bass or two smashes it, this will rip off the nose, and you'll be like, why don't I own more of these things? Because when they're hot, they're hot. Another thing about fishing the fluke, I fish the wacky worm a lot. It's kind of my confidence bait, but what I've noticed is that the size of the fish that I catch with the fluke versus the wacky worms, I get, I believe, a noticeably larger fish whenever I fish the fluke. So I'm not sure why, but it's something I just noticed recently. So another way that you can keep from this ripping a lot is they have a lot of different types of hooks out there, and one is called a screw lock, where you basically can screw the head in, and it's going to be more resistant to tearing and ripping. And if you don't care about weeds at all, I've seen it where you can just put a size 1 or 1/0 kind of octopus hook on the front and just kind of nose hook the thing and pull it through the water for that action that you're going to be looking for. All right, this is really important. If you get your flukes and they've been sitting in a packaging for a while, or the packaging has kind of been weird and this tail is kind of warped, there's a way to fix that, and I highly recommend, because if you don't fix it and this tail is warped off to the side, this thing will be doing corkscrews through the water, and it's not the action that you want from it. So what you want to do is boil some water, and this will work for all soft plastics. If you have a warped plastic and you want it to go back to the original design when it came off the floor brand new. And so what you do is dip your soft plastic, or whatever the part is warped, into boiling hot water for maybe 15 seconds, take it out, put it in cold water for a few seconds, and that should reset the original design of the plastic. Sometimes you get it and they look perfect, so this one doesn't look too bad. But if you get it and this is kind of bent over to the side, you're going to want to reset that plastic, and I would just buy a bunch of these things and do them all at once to kind of save yourself some time. So where you want to fish the fluke, man, this could be endless, but usually with most lures, you're looking for cover. That's the stuff that is on top of the body of water that you're fishing. So what I'm looking for when I'm fishing the fluke, the cover I'm looking for is your laydowns, which are your trees that fall over the side of the water. If I have docks around me, I'm going to skip this thing under the dock. I'm looking for shallow bushes along the edge. I'm looking for my grasses. I'm looking for bait balls. I'm looking for wherever fish are schooling. And I've had a lot of luck in intermittent pads as well. Let's talk about how you fish this thing. So whenever you're casting this particular lure, you're going to want to leave about 1 foot off the end of the tip of your pole in order to cast this thing out there. Don't reel it all up to the end and then try to cast it. You're not going to get the distance that you want. So leave about 1 foot from the end of your pole when you're casting, chuck this thing out there, and when this thing hits, you don't want to just start reeling and retrieving it right away. Let it sit. this thing is going to slowly fall through the water column, and a lot of times I actually get the bass to smash it on that fall. So wait 5 seconds before you start to do any type of retrieve with the fluke. All right, so if the bass don't smash it on fall, no problem. They're not always going to do that. But what I'll start doing is, the idea here is that you're trying to mimic dying bait fish. That's what the fluke is designed to do. And so what I'll do is tug, 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 and what you're looking for is real erratic movements with the fluke, and then you kind of pause. So this thing's gonna go jerk, 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 and it's gonna flip through the water, and then it's gonna slowly pause. Tug, 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 this thing will erratically move through the water, and then it's gonna slowly pause and start to fall. A lot of times you'll get the bass's attention through the tugging and the erratic motions, and whenever it stops, that's when the bass will hit. So if you're not having luck with the kind of tug and erratic motions, you can actually burn this lure. So throw it out and reel it in really fast, and sometimes that will trigger a bite. It's not my favorite way to do it, but if you're having zero luck and you're getting ready to put this thing up and try something else out, throw a couple out and try burning them back to your boat or burning them back to the bank wherever you're at, and you might actually get hit that way. So something to try, just have a few more techniques in your arsenal while fishing the fluke. But if you do that, you're probably going to need a high gear on your bait caster if you're using a bait caster. So something 711 or higher is going to help you burn this fluke to the speed you're going to need to, or you're going to be sitting there reeling it super as fast as you can if you have a low gear on your bait caster, like anything in the 5 or 6 range. I, of course, am a big fan of skipping this lure, especially if you're in shallow water. You don't want to rainbow cast this into an area and spook your fish. And also you want to change it up. If you're fishing in cold weather, you want to slow your roll a little bit. Let the pauses between your tugs, I know it's kind of brutal, last about anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds before you tug it again. That's going to get these lazy, cold fish that are pretty lethargic to pay attention to it. So if you're burning that thing in cold water, you're likely not going to catch too much. So in warm water, you can be a whole lot more aggressive with the fluke, which I am. So tug, 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 maybe pause a second or two, tug, 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 because the bass are more aggressive in warm water. So you're 65 to 75 degree water, man, I'm moving this thing pretty fast. And if you're still coming up short with the fluke and you're marking fish below you, you might want to try jigging this bad boy. Just let it fall to the bottom and then just kind of pull it up a little bit and let it fall. It'll kind of move around. Pull it up a little bit, let it fall like this thing is eating off the bottom. A lot of times vertical jigging will work with the fluke. And if you're still coming up short with the fluke, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll throw it out there and you can kind of walk the dog with this bad boy. Just like you would a topwater frog, you can walk the fluke right back to you and this thing will kind of go back and forth. And man, bass just can't handle themselves. And so there's a variety of different ways you can fish the fluke on this style of rigging. All right guys, if you're getting value, please help me out, hit that like button. Let's get this video out to more people. Let's move on. I got a few more things for you. All right, let's talk about colors really quick. There's a lot of colors out there. You're probably able to buy the fluke in just about any color you want, but keep in mind what you're trying to mimic to the fish, which is a dying bait fish. And so what you're going to be looking for is your pearls, your smokes, your shad colors. So use the colors the bass are used to seeing and will want to chew on. You start getting funky with your colors, it may work, but my go-tos, and I always have these lined up, are these pearls and these smokes that have a really great, have a great hookup ratio. Bass seem, at least in this body of water, love the smoke shad. But here's the thing, when I say that, I also say especially if you fish a highly pressured body of water, there's been studies to show the bass are pretty smart and they can actually identify a lure after one encounter with it. So you might want to have a couple weird colors with you and it might do the trick for you. So always be prepared when you're out there on the water, especially when you're fishing the fluke. Maybe giving them something that they've never seen before may do the trick. That's the basics of the fluke. Thanks for watching. Good luck out there. Bye.